I wanted to make sure we said we addressed the patriarchy up top. For this discussion, we are too far in. I'm embarrassed how far we are in. You can see on my notes, it says Klay and Meg right under it. Just says patriarchy. It's so crazy. Just middle of the conversation, I have to be like, okay, do you want to start talking for real now? We're not talking for real, but this is whatever. We both get it. Welcome to the Creme World Podcast, episode whatever. I am half your host. I'm Creme Brulee. Here we have...
I'm Zai, you know what I mean? I'm outside right now, and I'm able to be outside because, as you see on the neck, we got the mic set up. That's why it still sounds crispy, and I'm moving around. You know what I mean? I'm not locked in front of the computer screen and shit, so...
Yes, I sent Zai a mic, and I thought I was gonna send the one for the phone and also a computer one, but I was like, you know what? Let me just send the computer one right now, and we'll cross the getting you an iPhone one when we get to it. And the very next week, you're like, all right, I'm gonna be in Vancouver for a month, and it's like, all right, cool. This could have been one box, but it is what it is. Glad to have you, being crispy. We were just talking about what the big thing I think we're going to talk about. I want to talk about Michael Jackson too, because I feel like there's a lot there. And I'm sure we'll find a way to segue at some point to that. But the first topic I wanted to talk about is cheating, because cheating is very, I don't want to say in right now, but definitely... It's always been in, but it's definitely been talking a lot. Yeah, the topic of conversation with Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion. Klay Thompson cheating on her. Have you heard anything about this NFL cheating scandal at all?
No, what's going on in the NFL?
Okay, so the cliff notes, because I'm sure a lot of people who are listening haven't heard either, but this has been like the biggest story in the NFL the past 2 weeks. This reporter named Diana Rossini and this NFL head coach named Mike Vrabel, who used to play for the Patriots, won a Super Bowl and now coaches for the Patriots. They are both married to other people, and they basically, pictures came out of both of them at a resort, not like kissing or anything, but like interlacing fingers and like doing a lot of real heavy, romantic looking, intimate shit. These pictures come out. She denies it. He basically is like, I got to go to rehab, which is as I'll bring up later, because that's also a move I pulled. So
I need to go to rehab for cheating or just other things.
He just said he was seeking counseling, so he just so he doesn't actually acknowledge it at all, but yeah, says he's seeking counseling. After, they've both kind of, she's outright denied it, he's kind of tried to brush it under the rug. Then photos came out of them 6 years ago in 2020 at a club making out, after she already tried to say it wasn't real. People have been going through all of their internet history, their digital footprints, if you will, and they have been extremely messy with this. The best example I can give you is this woman, Diana Rossini, cheating with this man, Mike Vrabel. Her son that she had with her husband, she named Michael, after this man, and she put out a tweet while the day after she had her kid, just being like, wow, sitting here with my son Michael, just thinking about who are the best NFL head coaches / players to ever have the name Michael. A tweet that could only be about him. So yeah, so that's what's happening in the NFL concurrently with this Klay Thompson NBA cheating thing. What's your quick reaction to that story?
Sports are down bad.
Sports are down. I mean, sports are where they've always been, if we could keep it a stack.
That's well, I will say this, that more women are now going to be in tune in sports, you know what I mean? Which is like for basketball and football, based on those stories. I know.
You think some woman's like, hey, I heard this nigga cheated on Meg, let me tune in? You think
You have no idea how many posts I've seen of people putting up Klay's stats and like putting up, he ain't even LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, and it's all coming from women. Like, it's all coming from the Stallions. You know what I mean? And so they're all like, he ain't even LeBron. He cheating on Meg like he fucking Kobe or something. Like, look at his numbers. I'm like, do you? I don't know his numbers. So do you know his numbers? No, they know his numbers. And so I feel like as much as facetious as it is, I do believe that like because athletes like dating and like being with an athlete has always kind of been in as far as like the nigga you want type shit. I feel like now more women are going to be checking, maybe not in general, but the women who may have access to these guys, you know what I mean? Who are like, they're going to be more up on like what they doing and how they performing, because performance in the NBA and in the NFL determines celebrity, you know what I mean? And so if you're performing better and you're getting paid more, your numbers is better, you probably got more pussy being thrown at you. And so that's a little bit more of a red flag for like people who want to date you to be on the lookout for, you know what I mean? And so, but personally, though, like I feel like with the whole Klay and Meg thing, like
before you jump in, just break down the Klay and Meg thing as you see it for people who may not be up.
So we pretty sure everybody knows who Megan Thee Stallion is, and you may not know who Klay Thompson is. He's the second best shooter on the Golden State Warriors. Honestly, the best if you look at recent numbers. But like he is like Steph number 2. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know who Steph Curry is. Klay Thompson is like if Steph Curry had a brother who was also could do
light skin. Oh, okay.
Light skin and could do Steph does, but wasn't Steph. And so though Steph does have a brother in the NBA, doesn't he? Like a brother.
Yeah, they're on the same team. Steph and Seth, which that's a freaky thing to do as a parent.
That is, you know, people do that when they're not twins, are they?
No.
Yeah, no. People, you know, people aren't as creative with names. You know what I mean? They do have a white mother, so. We gotta.
I can't stand for that. I would love to stand for that. I simply cannot stand for that in good conscience.
But so Klay cheated on Meg apparently, and Meg left him. And did she make a song about it, or like she made?
No. So yeah, they had been dating for a couple of months, and it just became this really social media popular relationship. If I could say, you know, anything about the nature of the relationship as far as we know, there was a lot of cute pictures and posts that they were putting up of each other that were going viral. There was a picture of like Klay in the background of one of her photo shoots, just like holding a big ass stick that people were like making fun of. There was videos of like her cooking all his family Thanksgiving dinner and shit. So not only were they dating, but it seemed like they were making an effort to like, you know, be kind of everyone look at how happy we are about it, which
to be honest though,
those relationships typically, I won't say like end in infidelity necessarily, but always be wary of the relationships that are, you know, seem performative for sure.
To be honest though, I don't think that the narrative of them being so happy together isn't true just because he cheated. Because like that isn't like people don't always need to be unhappy to cheat. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times for men like that, and just for like masculine people in general, for the most part, it's just access. You know what I mean? Like if it's put in front of you and like the person is attractive or whatever, then like not 8 times out of 10 you're gonna fold. You know what I mean? And so it's like, especially when like the person that I imagine, I would want to hope to believe that the person that Klay cheated with is also a Meg Thee Stallion-esque woman. You know what I mean? When we get to like talking about beauty and like status and like just the person. And so
we could hope that, and there's rumors about it, but I think it's kind of a trope. And in my own experience, I guess I'll say after this we should both talk about our own experiences in this. But in my experience, at least, the person that gets cheated on, the mistress, usually less of a baddie.
You know,
9 times out of 10, in my opinion, the mistress, you're rarely cheating up.
You know, that is, like you said, a trope, but that, in my experience, has not always been true, at least from my perspective. Right? it depends on who is talking or who is observing or like what
Sure,
somebody.
sure, sure.
But you're not wrong. That tends to be like the normal. That tends to be the norm. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody really cheats up. Most people cheat down. But I want to believe Klay got. I like to be a
For what? Like, what do you get out of believing that he cheated up?
just because like my nigga, it's Meg Thee Stallion. Like if you're not cheating
Sure.
up, what you doing? You at least cheat sideways. You know what I mean? Like at least cheat parallel. So
Well, a lot of cheat, and so now is at the point where I think it's not important to say, but I feel necessary to say, and you could talk about it whatever comfortable, to whatever length you're comfortable, but not currently. That would be crazy if I was literally currently. But I've cheated before. It probably was a issue for me in my 20s. I say that now as someone who's only 30. But like, I went to treatment for alcoholism and I've been clean since. And I mean that in multiple capacities. So I don't, I don't know. I don't think people are going to judge me too crazy on that. If you know me, I have a checkered past, to say the least. But I do think it's good context to give going into this conversation, because I do also want to turn this, or like have this be a conversation that examines like what we think about monogamy as a concept, right?
yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, how much do you
I
feel
mean,
like?
like you said, like I have a checkered past too, and just to keep it about 50, I think every relationship that I've been in, I've cheated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just as from a young man, from a preteen to a teenager to in my 20s and stuff like that. Like, I guess I could say I had a problem, but I feel like my problem was never like, ooh, I'm unhappy. You know what I mean? My problem was always like, damn, she's fine too. You know what I mean? Like that, and then like that being the case, because also every time I cheated, like I was very like with the person I was cheating with, like I'm in a relationship, you know what I mean? And so like the ball is in your court, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you this because clearly I'd fuck you, you know what I mean? But like if you don't want to do that, I'm not finna sweat you either. You know what I mean? I'm not finna put the pressure on you knowing I'm in a relationship, you know what I mean? And so like, but that's like you said, like that was in my 20s and being 30, I turned 32 this year. Yeah, being 32 or 31. Um, I have grown past that in a sense, though it took me a minute. It took me up until the stroke to kind of figure out what it was for real. Like what was like what the nature of where that came from within me was. But I've learned to kind of see past my lust in a sense, you know what I mean? And so it's like trying to behave around that. And I say this as a like I don't want to be like I'm reformed and no shit, but like as a man who definitely struggled with like monogamy and loyalty and like in my early 20s and in my 20s in general, but especially in my preteen and teenage years, I don't feel like I don't feel like I deserve any like credit or whatever for maturing past that. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of men at some point do. I also feel like for every person, man, woman, whatever, if you have an issue with monogamy, you do eventually find the person where you're like, you know what? I don't really want to jeopardize this, but for my sense of lust, because cheating never fulfills anything. You know what I mean? Like you never get up from whatever and feel better about it. You know what I mean? Like, at least in my case, like after doing it, every time I would think like, oh, my girl or my partner or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'd say it's stressful even during the whole time. It's stressful. It's just like a werewolf kind of driving the car,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
So it's like, do I want to?
And that's not to absolve any ourselves of accountability of our actions, but that's just how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like though, like yeah, it's just you feel it immediately is followed by guilt. No matter how much pleasure it is, you're immediately flooded with guilt. If you actually care about the person you cheated on, you know what I mean. A lot of people don't give a fuck, and that's why they cheat. But if you care about the person you cheated on, you're immediately flooded with guilt. And it's yeah, I feel like it's at least for me being a man, like it just makes me question so many things about myself. You know what I mean? Like, does this make me a bad man? Does this make me a bad person or a bad partner? Am I a safe man to be with? Am I the stand-up guy that I want to be? You know, all those other things. And so I feel like, I don't know if that's everybody's struggle or everybody's like mindset around it or behind it. But for me in particular, I'm always like, I don't think this is the guy I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that this is the person, this is how I want to carry myself or how I want to move. And it just takes a minute to like commit to that in a way. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, just speaking from my own experience, for me, it took me a long time to choose to be satisfied. And I feel like that is a real thing because like you're never gonna find the perfect person. You're never gonna find the person where you're like, there is nothing that I wouldn't change about you. You know what I mean? Except for, yeah, I don't think you'll ever find that person. I think everybody has like, you don't think you're better than anybody, but everybody would want to make a tweak. You know what I mean? It's like, if I could make you perfect, which you can't, it doesn't exist. And so it's like, the grass is always going to be green on the other side. And everybody that you don't know their struggles, you don't know their turmoils, you don't know the nature of their behavior. Most of the time, you're just going off the look of a person. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you may think the grass is green on the other side, but then you actually entangle with this person. You're like, you know what? This is more stressful than just being in the relationship that I'm already in. You know what I mean? And
For
so
sure.
I
Yeah,
think,
do you, sorry, no,
go ahead. No, go
finish.
ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, so back, what you said, which I think was like rang the truest for me, is like at some point you make a choice to
Be satisfied.
be satisfied, right? And I think that can get to like a question of like, do you feel like monogamy is natural versus being, kind of the social agreement we have? Because not to, again, like excuse our behavior by saying it's natural, like this is what we're supposed to do, that kind of rhetoric. But I don't know. I think I still philosophically fall into thinking that, at least for me, and based on the experiences I've had, because I grew up in a situation where, like, I saw my mom go through bad relationship after bad relationship. I saw almost everyone in my family be in some kind of relationship that I didn't view as what I wanted out of life, I guess I could say, to be most basic about it. So that has kind of shaped me into having a more nihilistic view of our ability as humans to be monogamous, which I don't think is necessarily like true, but it is my view of the world. And I
Yeah.
think the times I cheated, some of them were even in, I think most of them were in situations where I was in a non-monogamous situation, but I was still being dishonest and, yeah, not respecting boundaries, I guess, that my partner had put up.
Yeah, no, I think that is like, even outside of monogamy, like boundaries, like once you cross the boundaries, you're cheating. But do I believe monogamy is natural? Not at all. I believe that I do believe 100% that it's a social agreement. But I also feel like it's only, polygamy is only really difficult and monogamy is just easier because like the boundaries, like dealing with multiple boundaries, and nobody's ever, from my perspective or my experience, nobody's ever going to feel the same about the same thing. But what I was saying was, it's just so much easier, and I do believe like satisfaction is a choice. You know what I mean? I believe that like you do like at some point you just be like, you know what, I'm good on all this turmoil, all this extra. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I came to it. I'm like, you know what, all of this is a lot. You know what I mean? Like trying to juggle this and like trying to make myself happy and myself satisfied while also having this partner that I want to make happy and satisfied as well. And those two things like not converging like you think they would, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like,
Like your expectations and your partner's expectations.
yeah, exactly. And so it's like, I always felt like, what made me happy and satisfied was tough on my partner because like I don't get full easy when it comes to love. You know what I mean? Like I have a very high capacity for intimacy and like being able to be within myself and have multiple feelings for multiple people. You know what I mean? Like that's just not as difficult for me as it is for what it seems to be everybody else. And I constantly hear this thing like, "Oh, you can't love two people. You can't love two people," and I don't believe that that's true. You know what I mean? I don't believe that it's true that you can't love two people. And so, why does it say Zoom? But
I
yeah,
think it's like,
go ahead.
yeah, I think the idea of you can't love two people is like just from like an aspect of like community is so weird. I think, well, I think first of all, like the way we use love, and I don't think I've talked about this on this podcast. It used to be something I ranted about a lot in person, but just the way we use love societally, um, is we all mean different things and at every different time. Like I use love in three different ways, like multiple different ways. Everyone uses love in multiple different ways, and we all are just assuming we know what everybody means, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is we should have more specific terms for the type of, maybe we should have more specific terms. I don't know. Perhaps it would be more easy rhetorically to have more specific terms for love. But in terms of like intimate, romantic, forever, quote unquote, love, the idea that could only be one person doesn't make sense if you just look at people who like have really long fulfilling like marriages and then someone dies and then they continue, the person who's left like falls in love again, like boom, why is that not possible while without someone dying essentially?
Yeah, I think that it's just like I don't know personally. Like I feel like some people when they like lock in on that one person and they don't allow themselves to remain open to that. You know what I mean? Like it took that in that marriage example, it took that person to die before that person like ventured on or whatever. You know what I mean? And like I don't think like you're saying like I don't think it has to be until somebody dies, but I think that until once you're like locked in with that person, until that person's not there anymore you're not really open to locking in with somebody else. You know what I mean? And it takes time for that to happen. For that to happen, time and or some kind of definite like it will never be again. You know what I mean? Like that person's dead. You know what I mean? Or like there is no way to get back to that person. There is no that person's gone. You know what I mean? And so that kind of is what it is. But I feel like that's not always that's not always the case. And I don't think that's always necessary because I feel like the only thing that's truly necessary for that to like be accepted is like can those two loves exist within the boundaries of each other? You know what I mean? And that's the real difficult part about it because it's like one love may have this set of boundaries and that set of boundaries might encroach on the needs of the other love. You know what I mean? And so like one of your partners or whatever the case may be like, I don't want this level of intimacy between y'all. And then the other partner might be like, I need that exact level of intimacy. You know what I mean? And so it's like you run into those problems a lot when it comes to like multiple loves or whatever the case may be. I think that boundaries beyond specific terms, I think boundaries need to be established within the term. You know what I mean? Like what you're saying, which probably is more specific terms, but it's like, all right, when you say love, what is the boundaries of that for you? Like what does that actually look like? What does the edge of that love look like for you before it tips over? You know what I mean? And so, which I don't mean, push people to the edge or whatever, that's not what I'm saying at all. But at the same time, boundaries vary person to person and interaction to interaction and experience to experience. And so it's like, I think you just have to be open to the sense that you can like you have to that just has to be something in your brain that you're like your brain computes easily. And I don't think a lot of people do. I think that whether that be societal like structuring or whatever the case may be, I don't think a lot of people are just open to that. You know what I mean? Like the idea of like, oh, I am able to love multiple people. Like I think a lot of people, like you see the movies and you see all the things that media and the world puts towards you. It's always one on one. Even back in the Bible, Adam and Eve was just one on one. So it's like whenever you see something that's not one on one, you're like, that can't be right. Like there has to be something that's not there has to be something lacking there. You know what I mean? Like it can't be, everybody can't be satisfied or happy in that. I think that's when polygamy took off, not took off, but when it became a more mainstream concept, that was the number one like thing that people try to point out. Like somebody in there not happy, you know what I mean? And like the idea that everybody is happy and satisfied is just hard for people to grasp. You know what I mean? Like I was watching Kev on stage. He does this tour with Tony Baker called the Ball Brothers Tour, and they stopped in Dallas. And in the episode, there was a lot of polygamous relationships, and it was just you could just tell by the conversation and the crowd reaction. It was just really, really hard for people to grasp the fact that everybody in this space is happy. You know what I mean? But optically looking in and based off how they were explaining their situation or whatever, it did genuinely seem like they were all in the space of comfort with it, you know what I mean? Or in the space of being satisfied in it. And again, I believe satisfaction is a choice. I believe as much as we say we don't have any control of the heart and how love sways us, I believe a majority of it is a choice. I believe you have to stop with yourself and be like, all right, I'm about to make a decision that's going to lead to this outcome. Am I okay with that decision? Or like, can I exist comfortably in that decision? And do I choose to exist comfortably in that decision? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to make this choice and rock with it and like stand 10 toes on it, you know what I mean? And I feel like when that choice is one person, then you're choosing to be satisfied. It's not settling, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we have this concept of settling. I don't think that. I think choosing to be satisfied is not settling at all. Like that you found something that fills your cup and like you are choosing to not need more in your cup, you know what I mean? Or to like say somebody like in that same analogy, like somebody gave you a cup of water, you know what I mean? And maybe the cup's not completely full, but you're choosing to take what they've given you and you're choosing to drink that and quench your thirst with that, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I think that monogamy and satisfaction work the same way. It's like, all right, your cup may not be full, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to make the choice to take what you have and enjoy what you have and quench your thirst with that? And if you're not going to make that choice, then the consequence of that is the cup never being full. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably never, ever going to get to the brim of what you want. You'll probably never have all of what you want. You'll probably always be missing something in regards to, I feel like,
Well, it's like the deeper philosophic idea of like, learning to be grateful for what you have is the only way to counteract wanting, just having desire infinitely projecting out of you and never truly being satisfied.
I feel like that's 100% true, but I also feel like, is that wrong to never be satisfied and to always want more? Because I feel like maybe it's narcissistic, but the most successful people, you know what I mean? Like they never stop. You know what I mean? Like
it depends what your metrics of success are. Is your metric of success like inner peace, or is your metric of success money? Because those, you know what I mean? Like, if you choose to not be satisfied, then sure, you can go crazy trying to be the greatest of all time. But all the people who are the greatest of all time, as we'll get to, are crazy. So pick your poison. I think in terms of what you were saying about like people not being able to, like people looking in and judging and not understanding how people could exist in polyamorous or polygamous relationships is how, and big apologies, I wanted to make sure we said we addressed the patriarchy up top for this discussion. We are too far in. I'm embarrassed how far we are in. You can see on my notes it says Klay and Meg. Right under it just says patriarchy. I was like, we gotta start by addressing the patriarchy, because especially coming from like two niggas who are like, so we've just understanding, and especially when it comes to Meg in the scenario and the discourse around Meg that we're having to go through. I don't even know how many times we've had to go through this level of discourse where like just this woman who's done nothing but be successful and beautiful is kind of constantly the target from like a specific sort of internet person, or just person, generally man, but also women in general, because of how hard the patriarchy cooks, is constantly the target for just ire for the sake of hating her because she's a successful independent woman who is like confident and doesn't really and is like well aware of the patriarchy and is trying to like openly fight against all the ways in which she's being oppressed as a black woman, specifically looking at even things like her label deal initially and how she was kind of fucked up with that. So acknowledging the patriarchy and all of this, but that is to say, we live in a society where the relationships due to the patriarchy are so much about possession, and the idea to some people that like the person, so many people look at relationships like the person I'm with is mine. This is my item. I know it sounds like black and white, but if you look at how especially heteronormative, conservative, traditional relationships work, the wife is, in particular, the wife is the husband. So polyamory.
I am definitely what's the word? I'm at fault with that. You know what I mean? I've definitely had that in my nature before, especially with a former partner of mine who you know very well. I was very much so like, that's mine. You know what I mean? And like, I don't want nobody else to have it or have her or want it or nothing like that. You know what I mean? And so that's strictly the patriarchy. And like even when they try to venture into their lane of the open aspect of our relationship, like I was very much so like offended almost, you know what I mean? Like my feelings were really hurt, which I imagine the same goes for her, you know what I mean? But I didn't, like, I felt differently about it as a man, you know what I mean? Like it just registered different for me, which is strictly due to me not being outside the patriarchy within my behavior in those moments, you know what I mean? But like you said, to address it up top, I'm well aware. I have been a proponent of it myself. And so it's like, it is, I don't want to say inevitable, but the same way like racism is kind of ingrained in our society, it's something that like you have to actively like be self-aware of and like push against. And it's like, if you don't do that, it's going to show up in your behavior, regardless of if you consider yourself that or not. Is if you haven't done the work to understand what that is and push against that in your behavior, it's going to be what it is. You're going to show it. It's going to show its face, no matter who you are, no matter what the context is, which I am a proponent of, you know what I mean? So I can speak to that directly. But I also feel like in the space with Meg, I feel like people just like black men just love to hate black women for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Like it seems to be like a pastime. Like, and I feel like the black red pill space is like, I want to say more destructive than the conservative white red pill space, because black men have more desire to get a one up on somebody or to be able to be like, see, you also not shit. You know what I mean? And
Well,
so
I also say the black red pill niggas have more social capital in the black community than the white red pill niggas have in the white community, if that makes sense. Like the black red pill niggas are like low key, not too far off the regular way niggas think, but like the white red pill niggas are seen as like crazy. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. And I think that speaks to like in the communities, like the amount of power that we give the tears of women. Because like we all know, as black people, the tears of a white woman are the most powerful force on earth. You know what I mean? In regards to like the tears of a black woman being like the weakest power. So, like that's just keeping it a book.
No, for sure. Just a crazy thing to have to hear, but yeah.
Nobody cares about when black women cry or when black women hurt, and especially within the community of blackness or of black people.
Black woman starts crying. People are like, "Why are you so angry?"
Yeah, fact. But a white woman starts crying. It's like, "Oh my God, Sarah, what can we do? What can we do? Are you okay?" You know what I mean? And so,
who needs to go to jail?
shit, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think that in that space, I feel like that's why the black red pill niggas have more platform, because black men, it's like all men are very quick to dismiss the tears of their female counterparts, whatever demographic it is. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the patriarchy, and the patriarchy exists. I feel like the patriarchy exists like before nationalism was the thing. You know what I mean? Before like we could like regionalize cultures and like demographically separate cultures. Like it's like before we was niggas and before we was Latinas or whatever, patriarchy was already there. You know what I mean? Like, it was already like doing its thing. And so I think in the space with Meg, and the sad it is to say, niggas just don't care what she's talking about because she's Meg Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? And because she has a body count of whatever the fuck, like as if it's just so weird to me to hear that because like we say that about women as if like being able to tell your homies, oh, I fucked this many women this week isn't like a badge of honor. You know what I mean? It's like it's just weird to me to like when that is a point of conversation because it's like, bro, if regardless of what her number is or her body count is, it don't matter. Like she's
Well,
still
a lot of the conversation has been about like people being like, "Wow, Klay smashed a lot of baddies." Like that's been like part of the you see on the other side. It's cool. It's like the perfect example of like what we're talking about.
He's been the option. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's just weird, man. That's just weird. I feel like though. Let me not cap. I feel like there does have to come a level of accountability, even with men. I feel like if you are very free with your body, you have to be comfortable with somebody having whatever feeling about that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, you know, you have a partner and you have a body count of whatever, you know what I mean? And your tendencies in the past were like, oh, I was moving like this with my body and I was moving like this in my relationships. If that person chooses to be with you or not be with you or whatever, like that, your body count then becomes relevant. You have to be like, even if you don't want it to be. Like
If the person chooses not to be with you based on your body count,
yeah, I feel like if like that.
I mean, are you saying that's just valid?
I think that everybody has the right to choose.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
that. I feel like that's valid. And like in the space of like,
I personally feel like it's weird, but I think it is anyone's right to feel weird about a body count.
I don't think that it's weird. I think that I think the only time it gets weird is when you use it as a fuel for like internal resentment within your relationship. Which is another thing we need to talk about too. Where like,
do you care about body count? Like let's be clear here. Like clearly there are certain things that could come with a high, quote unquote high body count that would be deterrents that we're not talking about. Different STDs, STIs, children, having a lot of niggas, just being around a lot of niggas all the time. If that is the case, things like that, sure. But just pure on its face, high body count, you have a problem with.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I got questions though. I'm a type of person.
Are you asking about body count on a date? Okay.
Not on a date, but like if we're finna lock in a relationship, I do want to know your past. You know what I mean? I do want to know your relationship past.
I think relationship past is a different question than body count, though.
No, I feel like if your relationship past is like you've only been in 3 real relationships that you would consider, but your body count is 10. Like we got something to talk about. You know what I mean? Like were you just like, what was that space? You know what I mean? Like where were you at when you were not in a relationship and you were still interacting or intertwining with people on an intimate level? Y'all were fucking. Like where were you at? What was even for me? Like I don't think that's a wrong thing to be curious about or want to ask. Cause like from my experience, like I have only been in maybe 5 relationships, but I have a relatively high body count. You know what I mean? And so it's like, if my partner asked me about that, like, okay, I'm not grossed out by you, but like, I have questions because you've only been in 5 relationships, but you've had relations with this many people. What were those relations? Like, was it these blurred lines of like y'all were friends and like that line got blurred? And do you have an issue with that? Is that like something you tend to struggle with your level of intimacy with your friends? Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even about like what your body count is. Like, what were the boundaries within yourself when this was happening? You know what I mean? Like, for me to kind of be aware going forward. Like, again, like, is this something that I need to be, are these boundaries and behaviors something that I need, like, that you still struggle with and that I need to be privy to or aware of in choosing to interact with you or engage with you on that level? You know what I mean? Because, like, going back to what we were saying about choosing to be satisfied in monogamy, like, if I'm choosing you to be my person and you have a tendency to be, like, for your boundaries to be rather weak and you don't stand on them firmly when it comes to people, like I need to know that, you know what I mean? Like if I'm like, do I need to wear, like, just keep it $150. Do I need to be worried that you're going to cheat on me because you a little loose? You know what I mean? Like, is that something?
Sure, but let's keep it a buck here. Could you not turn that same thing back on yourself?
No, that's okay. That's for my, like I was saying earlier.
Sure.
For my partner, like, I've only been in 5 relationships and I have a pretty high body count. So if my partner was to be like, hey, what was that? And like, is this something that I'm gonna have to be like, is this a behavior pattern that you have based off what you were feeling, or like what was that? You know what I mean? Like help me understand who you are and where you were in that time. In that, was that like a rough space in your life where you were kind of just not caring about yourself, or like what was it? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people who tend to have high body counts tend to have trauma associated with their lives. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure,
They don't.
sure do.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's like you tend to enter a phase where it's like, I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I didn't care about my body. I didn't care about the people that I was with. None of that meant anything to me. And it's like, okay, that's entirely valid. Have you worked through that? Or do you need help to continue to work through that? Because with that being said and known, I still want you to be my person, because I still love you for the person that I know you to be. But if that is also a part of your personality, and I'm aware of that, and I still choose that, do you need to continue to work on that? Like, where are you with that? You know what I mean? And so it's like, but also
yeah.
that's a
I
very nuanced way to go about it, because like most people not giving a fuck like that. Most people like, you was a hoe, you out here, you for the community, you for the streets, you just throwing dick around, just throwing pussy around, and we're not going to talk about where you were as a person, or like what had you to that point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Your body count's just high, and that bothers me. But like for me, like you said, turning it back up to myself, I care, but not to the sense where I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like, I got
Well,
questions.
yeah. It made me realize it's really more of a semantic thing we're rubbing up against. Where for me, it's like the idea of asking the literal question, "What is your body count?" is just it's immature feeling to me. But what you're describing isn't that. It's having a conversation about someone's relational and emotional history,
Yeah, you
which
know
is
what I
not
mean? Like,
which is a lot deeper than just being how many people have you fucked. And I
I
think
feel like
we both agree that an in-depth conversation about your like relational history and like boundaries and why you have certain boundaries and what's happened with them in the past and what your expectations are. Yeah, that's like standard for sure.
I feel like if you've only been in, oh shit, somebody just shot a gun. Damn.
It's heating up.
I hope so. Shit, I hope they heating up themselves though. Don't be, we ain't got no issues over here, my boy. Keep that shit. But I feel like let's keep it a buck. Like, if you've only been in, let's say, 2 or 3 real relationships, and your body count is 25, maybe we got something to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we got maybe there's a space in your life where you were dealing with some things, and like, going back to what I was saying, like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, my first question, and I will flat out ask, like, how many people have you been with? You know what I mean? But like,
But okay, so that's where I rub up with that question is that once it gets to like 20, is you really keeping track? Me personally, maybe this is like the super hoe in me coming out. Once it hit 20, however many years ago that was, there's no way I could keep all that in my head without having like a list. And I think once you start having a list, listen, I made the list one time in my mid 20s, and then I was like, I can't just be having this on my phone. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna die and they're just gonna see a list. And it's like, no, it says no. So that's where I rub up against it. Where if someone asked me that at this point in my life, I'd be like, your guess is as good as mine, toots. Just
I feel like, yeah, once you get towards your 30s and like your late 20s, I do believe it becomes like, bro, we're 30. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've probably been
we're
having
30s, and also we did the whole episode about drugs, and I've been an alcoholic. Like, there's some numbers. I don't know.
Exactly. And so it's like, going back to what you said about remembering, I do believe at a certain point, you do, not to say you stop remembering, but you do kind of stop keeping track. And like, I feel like, I don't know, like, that I say that, but like, because I am,
You got a list. You got a list. It's fine.
yeah, but I remember, you know what I mean? Like, I remember. And it's like, in the sense where it's like, I care, even though I was using my body with no regard or whatever. Like, I cared about what I was doing in those moments.
Sure.
Like, I still loved myself to the point where I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, this is not some weird emotional haze where like, I'm not going to remember any of this. Like, nope, I'm going to clearly remember this moment, probably for the rest of my life, because of
You never fucked in a weird emotional haze? That's some of the best fucking, brother.
I honestly never have. Like, whenever I have fucked somebody, like, I was there, you know what I mean? Like, because I wanted to fuck them. And like, that's kind of where I'm at with sex in general. Like, I have to be there with you, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just be fine or whatever. Because like, I done fucked a good number of bad bitches, and my shit just didn't get up. It's like I'm
We're
not
here now, baby. We're really podcasting now, baby.
But like,
no, I mean, I'll get in the water there with you. That it happens to the best of us.
yeah, like even beyond like, just being sexed out or whatever, like there have been times where like I wasn't sexed out, you know what I mean? And I was on go, but then it's like I'm on go and then you pull up and we get to talking and we get to vibing and I'm not on go no more. I'm on stop now, you know what I mean? And so there have been.
What do you mean?
Like there have been times where like people have put me off, like I guess the ick in a way, but like there have been times where like the person was beautiful, like objectively a bad bitch, you know what I mean? By the terminology of which we use that term or the standards in which we use that term. And like that wasn't, regardless of all that, like I still wasn't there. Like I wasn't locked in, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have me on that wave for them to be.
So you're saying you have or haven't fucked through the ick?
Fucked what?
Through the ick. Like, have you gotten the ick and been like, I'm still...
Never.
Okay.
Even as a bisexual man, like when I was like struggling with that in my youth, like if I got the ick from any moment, I'm out of there. You know what I mean? Like regardless of whoever it is, you know what I mean? Like I was like, this would have been fun until you said and did what you did. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
like
I'm very non-confrontational in a way that's put me into some things.
Fuck with the ick.
That I was just like, oh, I'm not having a good time, but I feel like being like, hey, you're weird, I gotta go, is like harder than just going with this. This is thanks for listening, whoever's listening.
Maybe it's the narcissist, maybe it's the former narcissist in me, but I'm like I'm real quick to be like, this ain't it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm real quick to be like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling you no more. Like, I hope that doesn't hurt your pride, but I kind of hope it does. You know what I mean?
No, I've straight up had people be like low key mean to me and still been like, well, you're at my house.
Same, yo. Back when we lived in a townhome, man, there was this one chick that came over one time, and like I got into it in downtown at one of the protests with this guy because he fucking spit in my face. But everybody swears he didn't spit on my face, and maybe it was an accident because he was on go and talking fast, but still spit hit my face and I spazzed, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, that's what we're not going for. I fucked him up. Not really. I didn't really do too much to him, but I hit him one really good time and he fell into his car and I think kind of cracked the window and everybody was like, oh my God, like, oh, like that was intense. And like, it really wasn't. I only hit him one good time. And then he tried to rush me after that and I pushed him to the ground and I almost footballed his motherfucking head because I was pissed off.
Has the statute of limitations passed on this?
Well, yeah, it wasn't no criminal charges pressed. It wasn't like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Proceed. I'm just looking out.
No, it wasn't nothing like that. But yeah, me and him had got into this little tussle or whatever, and I rocked him one good time. He fell back, and then after that, I guess his ego was on go. He was amped up, and he tried to bum rush me from the back. I just happened to turn around in time because I heard his feet coming, and we started like grabbing each other. You know what I mean? Because he was going to hit me with my back turned, but when I turned around, he went for the grab, and so we grabbing each other and whatever. And I finally rolled him to the ground, and when he rolls to the ground, my instinct was like, huh, to give him the good old field goal punt kick, but I didn't. I was like, the crowd was too big, and I was just like, man, somebody get this dude before I do it. You know what I mean? Somebody get this dude before I do it to him. And but a chick came over after the fact, a couple days later, after like maybe like a week later or something. No, it was a couple days because she was mad about that. So she came over, we hooked up, and she was that was her homie, that was somebody in her friend circle, and she found out after the fact. She found out after we hooked up, and me and her like she was mean to me and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But she still wanted to do, and she was hot. I was like, shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely not ever saying no if you want to come through again. And
that's a real Portland female thing to do. Be like, you're a bad person. I'm on the way.
She came back through and we hooked up. And I remember thinking that like damn, like I didn't know how to feel about it because like after the fact, like it wasn't like she ever became nice to me. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that ever was like not a point of contention. Like we hooked up and every time we would talk after, we would be on like different sides of like the protest scene. You know what I mean? And like,
well, that's kind of hot. I mean, for real, like it's kind of hot. It's tension. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely the tension. The tension was like it's kind of funny you say that because like her aggressive energy toward me was I was new to. I wasn't used to that. You know what I mean? It was like I'm gonna fuck that out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Look.
But,
oh man.
talk about the patriarchy, right?
Yeah, no, we've said too much on this one. I fear. But do you have anything else on this?
But yeah, I say all that to say Meg is a victim here, and I don't give a fuck what nobody's talking about with Klay. And as a man, I've heard all the rhetoric on Klay's behalf. You know what I mean? Like that isn't not to be disregarded or whatever, but like keeping it a buck 50, the shit really don't matter because like we always got to let go. We're always allowed to do more in the space of relationship and get away with more, and it just be generally accepted on on a grander social scale. But yeah, man, that's what I got on that one. It's like
I think I'm in a similar place of like I don't want to parrot the rhetoric I've seen about Klay that is basically something along the lines of like she should have known yada yada yada. What do you expect from a yada yada yada? Yeah, I will say, am I as a human surprised an NBA player cheated on his girlfriend? Of course not. Does that make him not a dirtbag? You know what I mean? Like you could be operating within the societal expectation of you, but that doesn't make it fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately.
I feel like too, like going back to boundaries and stuff, I feel like it don't matter the dynamic, it don't matter your status, it don't matter who you are. If you have a partner of any regard, any sorts, however you want to define it, and they have a certain boundary and you overstep that boundary, you are consciously choosing to be a douchebag. Like that's just the reality of it. As somebody who has been a habitual boundary stepper, you know what I mean?
So yeah, that's how we got into this conversation ultimately. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say to you in regards to and we'll close off here. I didn't know that was cheating thing. Like cheating is the boundary you and your partner agree are the boundaries. It could be physical, it could be whatever is less that both of you have plainly stated is your boundary.
No, exactly. I feel like we exist in this time now where I don't know why it is, but maybe it's because we have so much access to like people's relationships and people that like boundaries are very optional, it seems. You know what I mean? And so it's like not even like respecting them, but having them. You know what I mean? Like it seems like people are like kind of like, like you said, like what do you expect? You know what I mean? And it's like that's become a very common, from what I feel like in relationships, a very common stance where it's like, it doesn't matter, going back to what I was saying about past, if you've worked on, where you struggle at when it comes to boundaries and you put the conscious work in, there is no, what do I expect? I expect respected boundaries. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what your history were, what your tendencies was, the type of person you are, the status you have and how long you've had it. None of that is relevant. If we're partners and we have set a boundary, there is no what do you expect. I have set my expectations. And so it's like, I feel like that generally only applies though to men when it comes to like not respecting the boundaries, because I feel like in most cases, women know that they have to carry themselves differently due to patriarchy. They know that like if they want to be respected and seen a certain way, they have to carry themselves a certain way, though they may not want to or agree with that. That's just kind of how society is set up. You know what I mean? Kind of the same, but like the racial context where it's like you don't ever want to be one of the good ones, but in certain spaces you have to be one of the good ones to just survive. You know what I mean? Even if it's just like get out of there alive, like literally. You know what I mean? I feel like women, especially Black women deal with that a lot more than men will ever deal with that. And so I just think that like you said, like I don't want to parry none of those talking points. And I've seen them too, where it's like, bro, fuck all of that other shit. Like the nigga could have 1,000 rings, my nigga. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like none of that matters. Like.
Yeah, I think it's really a mirror of like where maybe not all of our society is, because obviously we're only referring to like one portion of this conversation, but it is a mirror of like what male expectation, or even you could say male like that kind of man, the high value man, the
I hate
red
that.
pill on either side. I'm sorry, but the
Oh, you're
red pill
fine. You're fine.
on either side, man. The even like you could just say just conservative, pseudo intellectual, modern man doesn't. The end goal is not Meg the Stallion
Yeah.
cooking your family dinner on Thanksgiving. The end goal is, as you kind of we talked about before, the end goal is being within this cycle of like never being satisfied and constantly, no, I don't think people even like work that out in the long run. Like, so if this is just your plan forever, you're just, you know what I mean? You're gonna be 80 still cycling through baddies, brother.
I mean, we seen it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen
I mean, for sure, but is that what you want? Is that what niggas really want to be doing?
I personally feel like yes. You know what I mean? I feel
That's crazy.
like the male ego and like the ingrained patriarchy tells you that like as a man, you're never done. And the moment you decide to be done, you're done. You know what I mean? And like that is no man ever wants to be written off, no matter how old he is, no matter how whatever is going on. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to continue to strive, to continue to want. And so it's like the moment you stop doing that, you turn in your masculinity card. And like I feel like for a lot of guys, that's the biggest fear is to turn in the masculinity card. You know what I mean? And that's what, for me personally, that's why the red pill exists. The red pill exists because it's like you seem to be lacking your masculinity card. Let me give you some masculinity credit. You know what I mean? And let me put you on like you can charge this card X amount of time, but you do got to pay it back by behavior and performance. You know what I mean? You can't cash the card in and then not check the credit. You know what I mean? And like not stand up to the credit.
It's so interesting you say that. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
Oh, go ahead. No, go with me.
Oh, I was just watching before this, like an essay that I forget the name of the creator who did it, but FG Sig was in it, and he cited the statistic, or not statistic, but this like, you can look back through American history, and pretty much in every single decade, there's been like a big concern that like real men are disappearing. Like masculinity and like male, whatever we think is like peak masculinity, male desirability, high value maleness, whatever, is a treadmill that you never get to the top of. There is never you've done it, you're the most masculine. It's no, you constantly have to
keep going.
You have to smash your bones now to have the best jaw. You have to do whatever you can.
Bro,
you have to cheat on Meg the Stallion.
You're talking about the clavicle video with the FD just did with somebody.
Yeah. I just watched that. It was good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like look smacks and shit like that. Like the constantly, like I'm the gym bro shit. Like you have no idea how many times that like I've seen a post of a man being vulnerable or like expressing some kind of hurt or whatever, and niggas in the comments, just get in the gym, bro. Just get in the gym, bro. Just don't even worry about it. Block that shit out, bro. Just get in the gym. Just get in the gym, bro. Just go. Like, don't even worry about it. It's like, but that man is hurting. There's no amount of weightlifting that is going to take that pain away unless he just
that man needs to paint or fucking get a sketchbook and some charcoal and just go sit in the woods.
Let that man vent, man. Let that man express. And it's like, nah, bro, fuck all of that, man. Go lift iron, my nigga. 25 reps.
Get that tea up, my boy.
Man. Man, the red pill space is a fucking crazy space, man. And I've gone down red pill rabbit holes. Haven't gone down one in a while. I went down the first one I ever went down was when Kevin Samuels blew up because I already off rip couldn't stand him. And I needed to know why niggas did. And I was like, what about this nigga is speaking to you niggas? That's when I found the whole high value man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like found all that shit out. And it's like, I really don't like that shit, man. And this is coming from somebody who like, I've never ever in my life been hyper masculine. But like in the space of what the high value man is, I fucked numerous bad bitches. And I'm not a high value man or like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, bro, what are y'all talking about?
I was gonna say a lot of low value men are spreading their seed far and wide, respectfully, with respect to that whole movement.
Like, just be a person, bro. Like you don't have to be, and I mean, not saying you be a bum nigga. You know what I mean? Don't be a hoe.
For sure.
Like,
now, one of the things I get at in the video is that like there is truth to the idea of like the way you look in the world and like having money and things like that are like pretty privilege exists. Having money giving you more options in life exists. Like, you know what I mean? Having perceived status value to other people in society does exist, but do you want to go about pursuing that through vapid and ultimately like unuseful, like not good methods that are just going to make you just buff and empty? Or do you want to kind of see how you can perhaps, you know, feel better about yourself and maybe get stronger, fitter, smarter, and just like make your life better in some way that isn't purely for the sake of having more quote unquote money or success, but is for having a happier life?
We're talking to niggas, and we're talking about niggas who feel like I can't be empty if I'm full of muscles and teeth. You know what I mean? Like what are you talking about, nigga? You see my arms, nigga? I'm empty, nigga. These motherfucking arms are
empty. I'm fucking juiced, bro. My boy.
Exactly. Like I'm full of motherfucking testosterone, money, and muscles, nigga. Empty where? You know what I mean? And so it's like, but to what you're saying, like, yeah, like a lot of dudes, like, yes, that's what they protect themselves with. And it's like, if I look like this on the outside, hopefully you'll stop there and you won't ask about what I look like on the inside, which is what I feel like the true sentiment is. It's like, I know I don't really have much on the inside. I don't really have a capacity for like this grandeur thought of like what's going on in the world or whatever. So to counterbalance that with, I know that insecurity that I have within myself, outwardly, I'm going to be this. That way I never have to address the insecurity, you know what I mean? Because nobody's going to know it exists if all they see is my Ferrari and they see my muscles and they see my Hugo Boss suit and I smell like Dior everywhere I go, you know what I mean? So it's like, why do you ask me about how I feel when you see how I look?
Mm-hmm.
That is irrelevant.
That's the only question.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's the logic, and it's like, yeah, how I feel, bitch. I feel like $1 million because I got $1 million. Like,
yeah.
And so it's like, but yeah, no, I think that I don't know how detrimental, because I feel like, going back to what I was saying earlier, I feel like in the Black community, patriarchy exists differently. Like I tell people all the time, like if you're not Black as a man, I cannot exert the patriarchy upon you. Like I don't have the power to. Like I only have the power to.
If you're not what?
If you're not Black, or if you're not a Black or brown person, I don't have the power as a Black man to exert the patriarchy over you. You know what I mean? Because like for a white woman, if we go anywhere, she's first. You know what I mean?
She's privilege mogging you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, and this is gone from being in Portland, being on dates with many, many white women. People don't come to me first and be like, hey, how are you doing? Is you at the table for two? Like it's never that, you know what I mean? Like they always approach her first. And that's due to the stereotype of Black men just tend to like, we're less than, you know what I mean? We tend to not have or whatever. And so it's
whiteness supersedes everything else.
Yeah, especially
in America.
And so it's like, I don't get to exert the patriarchy over anybody who's not, any white person, any white woman in general. But, with that being said, I feel like that amplifies it within our community. Because we hear the story all the time. I don't know how relevant it is now, but we used to hear the stories of Black men in the 50s and 40s coming home and beating their family because they get treated like they do at work. You know what I mean? It's like they come home and exert their masculinity and frustration with the patriarchy on the people that they have the power to put that on. You know what I mean? Like they'll never do that. They'll never slap Sarah at work for talking crazy to her. They'll come home and slap their wife because Sarah talked crazy to them. You know what I mean? It's like we don't have the space, and like, that's not fucking okay. It's like a symptom of the patriarchy and how it like bleeds into our communities and how it bleeds into our structure and our culture. But all that being said, it starts with the patriarchy and it ends with the patriarchy, right? And so it's like, how do we really, like, I don't know, in the Black community, that's why the red pill is so strong, man. I don't really know as a Black man what we do to get past that. Everybody keep like, hold your friends accountable. I only know so many niggas. I can hold all these niggas accountable, but I don't know the 20 niggas that's over there in the other side of town beating bitches. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So
I think there is, and we should wrap up here pretty soon. something I spoke about, I don't know if it was on the exact previous episode, but one of the last ones we did was like, how much I feel like black discourse online, all discourse online, but in particular black discourse online is being astroturfed by bad actors on whatever side. I do think, what I said about red pill niggas having more social capital than white pill niggas, I believe that's true, but I still do believe I don't believe those red pill niggas would say the shit they say online to women in their faces. Does that make sense?
Not at all. They would never.
Yeah, so I still think it's still, I don't know if a minority is the right word, but I still don't think at least that type of language and thinking is like mainstream acceptable.
Yeah, the thing is though, the guys that would say that to women and like off the internet are dangerous. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Dangerous niggas, and it's like that's not the mainstream. Like, we're not dangerous. Like, well, for black women, black men can be pretty dangerous.
I mean, man, let's just absolve black men by just saying men as a group. In reference to the famous man versus bear debate of last year.
Yeah, now that conversation was crazy.
I wish we had a podcast so bad when that was happening. We can't relitigate it now, but that was the best time to have a podcast.
All the dudes and the like
dudes were tight. Dudes were
you just like animal that would just eat you and just destroy you and maul you, and it's like you kind of would do the same thing.
Dudes proved the point immediately with their reactions. With the reactions, it was like exactly.
Like, man, that whole debacle was hilarious, and like it's stuff like that, bro. Where men, we just get down bad. Like we hurt ourselves the most. Like regardless,
because men can't take a joke as much as. Especially like white America, the right wants to say like no one else can take a joke. Those niggas men cannot take a joke. If you're like, men are terrible, they're like, oh, if I said women are terrible, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, like, come on. You guys have the power, bro.
I feel like though the men, like to like you saying that they have the power, the men that have that response
don't have the power.
Like have the power and don't feel like they have the power. And it's like, I didn't understand how fragile the male ego was until like I woke up from the stroke and like realized like how shattered my ego was from what happened to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like feeling like, damn, like I am a shell of myself because this happened to me and it stalled me out. And it's like, no, nigga, you just had a setback. Like you are still, you know what I mean? You're still everything that you are. And like, you are not a setback or a bad experience or a bad whatever. It does not take that away from you. And it's like, that has to be something like you have to have that power of yourself within yourself. And I feel like a lot of dudes who fall into the red pill rabbit holes and like you said, can't take a joke and all that shit, don't have that within themselves. You know what I mean? And so I feel like the internet will supply you whatever you're looking for when you're looking for it, right? And so it's like if I'm looking for somebody to support my I hate women narrative, I can find it. You know what I mean? Like I can find a numerous podcast platforms and whatever echoing that sentiment, making me feel more galvanized in that sentiment. But it's like that don't make you right. You know what I mean? Like I feel like people, like men don't understand that you can be wrong collectively. You know what I mean? It's like
and hurt feelings don't mean the other person's wrong. Also.
Exactly.
Just because your feelings are hurt doesn't mean it's not true or that like you. Which again is a thing you think you would that side would get, but
not at all, man, not at all. But it's like, I don't know, man. What do they say? You point a finger and there's three pointing back at you. Like that shit is
at least
as like childish as that fucking rudimentary as that reference is. Like that shit is true, especially when it comes to red pill niggas, especially when it comes to angry men. It's like, bro, you angry because they made a joke about a bear? And like, if you with a woman and she loves you, no nigga, she would rather be in the woods with a bear, goofy ass nigga. Like
the women, like they let them. Yeah, it's all the jokes. It's not like women aren't leaving men. Like dating isn't over. They're still, you know what I mean. It's not like at that moment, women's choices or actions changed in any discernible way. It's like you just were upset hearing that they sometimes. Yeah, it's. I mean, what I deal with it is like, and again, we have to go out on this, but a thing that I struggle with a lot is like getting mad sometimes because like I walk my dog late at night a lot, and like it sometimes pisses me off, even because this will happen during the day sometimes, where someone will just like see me coming and cross the street, and a woman in particular, and there will be a part of me that's just like, what the fuck, you know, like I'm just here walking my dog, like, you know, all this like part of me that wants to take offense to it, and I will at the same time be able to hold like the very understandable fear that women have that anything could happen to them late at night, especially like being in an area I'm in. But I still see it, you know, like I see where that comes from, and it's just this idea of like feeling like you're being punished for something you didn't do, and you're not being punished. So there's something you didn't do occurred, but you're not being punished. It's actually not about you at all. This is just someone else moving how they want to move to be comfortable. And you can be upset about it, or you could look at that and then use that moment to reflect on the type of world you've created or you're helping to create.
I feel like I consciously, whenever I come across situations like that, I consciously tell myself, like, you're just, like you said, it's not about me at all. But if it was about me, I'm just bearing the burden that men have created.
Yeah.
Meaning, so it's like, it's like you said, it's not about me at all. That person's had an experience where they feel more comfortable crossing the street, which it ain't that, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
if I really wasn't going to talk to them or bother them, I shouldn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, who gives a fuck if they cross the street? And so it's like, I feel like in that space though, I don't know, like men are like fragile, bro. Like
for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I guess we can end there. Men are fragile, and that's what we have to say about Klay and the Megan Thee Stallion conversation. Like,
patriarchy is real. We validate it. Sorry, keep going.
Like, if you've been up on that conversation and you're hot about some shit that a nigga said about Klay, understand that men are fragile, and this is their one time to be like, get off our backs. You know what I mean?
Their one time
in the recent years. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had. Men haven't had one of these, like, this hasn't been a conversation for a minute. At least not one that I feel like has been so socially grasping. You know what I mean? Where it's like men always feel that way. Like, get off our back. It's like, nigga, ain't nobody on your back, one. And two, if somebody was, it's the other niggas around you. Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you talking to the wrong people. So, like, handle that shit at home first, bro. Don't come out here yelling at us. Like, ain't nobody did nothing to you. And going back to, like, I'm not a hyper masculine dude. So it's like, I've always felt othered when it comes to like that type of man or whatever, like that type of male ideology, where it's like, I've never really co-signed to that. Like, I don't want to be like, do I want a shit ton of money? Of course. But I don't want to be this vapid machismo ass nigga. Like, I literally can't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have the capacity to be that. And so it's like, if somebody feels that way about how men have treated them in the past, and they're kind of like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, nigga, but like, you have yet to show it. Like, I need it to be shown for me to like take it into consideration or even into account. I accept that, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I would be remiss to like see the way niggas around me move and have my own qualms about it, and then be upset that somebody else has those same qualms about men, and me being a man, therefore that qualm kind of coming toward me. Because it's like, as a man, I fucking feel you, bro. Men suck. I say it all the time. Men suck. Objectively. Like, as a collective, we suck.
Hand up.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for listening. I feel like there's
sorry about too many bitches in there. For anybody that was listening, if it offended you, I don't call all women bitches, but when I'm talking off the cuff and I'm just talking generally, bitches is my go-to. So, like, the same way niggas is my go-to, I apologize that offended you. You're like, oh, what's she gonna be a bitch? Because she not, but that's just because of what I said. Like, and so, like, I'm sorry.
Why's she gonna be a bitch? That's how people are at home. They're like, they listen to this whole thing, and then once you started saying that, they're like, oh, this is distasteful.
I feel like at this point, the following.
Damn, he just disconnected. We're gonna have oh, there we go.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, the following or fan base, they know what to expect. You know what I mean?
For sure. If they made it this far, I don't think they were going to be deterred by much in the Department of Language. All right, love you, dog. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah.